I'm all on Jim Harbaugh's side. I think all of this is stupid. I can't even believe it's gotten to this point. But I can't be on your side in the aspect of the NCAA gave you a chance to admit to it and was like, hey, it won't be a harsh punishment. And yet you lied to them and misled them. So does anybody actually care about this or not? I'm kind of confused because to me, I think this is a big deal. If this was Nick Saban or if this was Ryan Day, if this was Lincoln Riley, if this was Steve Sarkisian, Josh Heupel, Kirby Smart, I feel like it'd be global news, but since it's Jim Harbaugh, nobody's really talking about it. And don't get me wrong, it's getting some attention, but not as much as I think it should or as much as it deserves. And oh yeah, by the way, we ain't doing no intro, none of that. We ain't got time for that, baby. If you like the content, consider joining our amazing community. We're just a bunch of girls and guys that love sports. And occasionally, Matt will throw in a vlog. I'll do a food review and all that nice stuff. But let's lock in. Let's get down to business. By the way, speaking of food review, I went to Culver's today again for the second time. And I was like, you know what? After the first time I went, I was talking to one of my buddies. And he was like, yo, did you try their onion rings? I was like, wait, Culver's has onion rings? I was like, all right, bet. Next time I'm in town, I got to hit them up, try out them onion rings, and dude, they were exquisite. They were as good as they come, and I still got to try the cheese curds. I'm going to do those next, but the onion rings today, 9 out of 10. Some of the best onion rings I've ever had, and considering fast food, hard to beat. But getting on track here for Mr. Harbaugh, I'm sure some of you have heard this news. I'm sure some of you may have not heard the news. He's been suspended, or he's going to be suspended for 4 games. Oh, man, I can't believe I'm about to say this, but it's true. All of this is stemming from an incident that happened where Jim Harbaugh bought a recruit a hamburger. No, I'm not lying. That's why we're here. There are some other things that tie into all this, but a main reason is because he bought a recruit a hamburger and he lied about it. That's the big part about all of this people don't bring up. Jim Harbaugh was asked about this by the NCAA, and he lied about it. And then behold, the NCAA being the higher-ups that they are, they found out and he actually did it. I've already went on a rant about the whole hamburger thing. It's not even like he's trying to persuade a kid. It's just a nice gesture. It's the same thing whenever you take a client out or a business associate out to lunch. It's just the right thing to do. You got a recruit going to your school to visit. Yeah, you go to lunch, buy him a hamburger. Heck, buy him some fries and buy him a Diet Coke too. But apparently, you're not supposed to do that, and it's just weird, man. You can give a kid a $100,000 scholarship. You can pay for his meal plan. You can pay for his dorm. You can pay for his cleats, his helmet, football gear, all that, which probably equates up to $200,000 or $250,000 something dollars. But you can't buy him a hamburger? Come on, man. What are we doing? What are we doing? But yet again, remember this. That's not the biggest deal. The biggest deal is that Jim Harbaugh lied about it. One thing you need to know about the NCAA, and I've learned this over my many years covering them, they do not like being lied to. I'll give you a great example. Look at Tennessee. We talked about them the other day. They had over 200 infractions, and the NCAA just fined them $8 million. They didn't suspend a head coach. They didn't make them bowl ineligible. They just fined them $8 million, which is a lot of money, but it was a slap on the wrist. And in this instant, you just got Jim Harbaugh doing something that doesn't seem like a big deal, and he's getting suspended for 4 games? A lot of people are freaking out about this, rightfully so, but let me give you the full details and some more information. The Lumley suspension is tied to an NCAA recruiting investigation into Michigan in which Harbaugh faced a level 1 violation, which, by the way, is the most serious con in the NCAA's purview. I've never seen that word before in my life. I guess that is a word for not cooperating with the NCAA enforcement. I've read this entire article. It's super long, and to make a long story short, that's the only real details you need to know. The rest of it's just saying what Jim Harbaugh stated, which isn't a big deal, and it's also saying which games he'll be suspended for. And also, I did find this interesting. Although he'll be suspended for the 4 games, which we'll talk about in just a second, he can still be there during the practices. He just can't be there for the games, which to me doesn't even seem like that big of a penalty, because if you couldn't even be around the football team for 4 weeks, oh yeah, that'd be a big loss, but you can be around them from Sunday through Friday, just not Saturday. No, it's not a big loss. I just strongly disagree with that because he's still going to be around the guys. He'll get a feel for the team and all that nice stuff. If you were to say, yep, you can't be around the team for 4 weeks entirely, different conversation. So there we have it. Whether you agree with them suspending him, whether you don't agree with it, that's the reality. We can't change it, but here's what we can do. We can talk about how this is going to affect the Michigan football team. And if you're wanting me to sit up here and say this is going to affect them mightily, yeah, it's just not going to happen. Don't get me wrong, I still think this is a big deal. That's why I'm making a video on it, but look at who they play in these 4 games. And I think the NCAA did this on purpose. Week 1, Eastern Carolina, easy W. Week 2, UNLV, easy W. Week 3, Bowling Green, easy W, in week 4, Rutgers. I'm going to leave this up for you guys in the comment section. Do you really think Michigan's going to need Jim Harbaugh for those 4 games? I don't. And just like this reply says right here, and this is what everybody's saying in the replies and comment section on Twitter and Instagram, schools can openly give a kid a $1 million signing bonus, but if you bob a cheeseburger, the head coach gets 4 games. That's the reality, but outside of the jokes and whatnot, there's a lot of people saying that, and let me explain this because I guess people just don't understand. Yes, Tennessee got a slap on the wrist, but here's the reason why the NCAA is taking this way more seriously with Jim Harbaugh. Number 1, he had an 11-1 recruiting violation. And number 2, he's not cooperating. That is the stuff that all these articles on Twitter and Instagram that just want you to overreact, they're not pointing out. Jim Harbaugh is not cooperating with the NCAA. And yeah, it's a big deal. It's the same thing in the court system. If you take a plea deal and cooperate, your punishment is going to be lesser than if you didn't cooperate. The fact that Jim Harbaugh's not admitting he's in the wrong and he's not cooperating, yeah, it leaves the NCAA with no choice. And y'all know I'm the last person to side with them, but what do you want them to do? You got a guy who broke the rules, and yet he won't admit to it. You got to give him a suspension. Do I think buying a kid a hamburger should be a part of the recruiting violation? No, but since it is a part of the rules and you don't follow them and you don't admit to breaking them, yeah, there's got to be consequences. That's just my humble opinion. Now, as to why Jim Harbaugh is not cooperating, I have no idea because this doesn't seem like it should be a big deal whatsoever. At this point in time, here's my conclusion. I think Jim Harbaugh is such a competitor, he doesn't even want to admit to the NCAA he did something wrong. I think he's that crazy competitive, and all in all, who cares? As long as he's coaching against Ohio State, little bro, by the way, that's all I care about. I'm looking at some of these comments, and somebody said, it needs to be these 4 games this season. Penn State, the Ohio State, Michigan State, and Nebraska, not the first 4 cakewalk games. And somebody replied under it, he bought them burgers, bro. And that's what I'm talking about. Somebody said cheeseburger game. You can't make this up. Oh, brother. What do y'all think about this? Let me know in the comment section. You know what I think about all this? I think when Jim Harbaugh heard the news this morning, when he was in his multi-million-dollar mansion with all of his expensive and nice cars, he was laughing about it. And you want to know why I believe that? Because who was the 4 teams he suspended for? Let me pull it up again. Yeah, here it is, guy right here. East Carolina, UNLV, Bowling Green, and Rutgers. He's laughing about this because he knows, hey, I didn't even admit to the NCAA I did this, and they're just suspending me for these 4 measly games? Looks like I'm the real winner out of all of this. He didn't even have to put his pride or ego aside, and he still is coming out on top. I can't lie to y'all. As much as I think Jim Harbaugh has been a clown in the past 3 to 4 or 5 years, he's really grown on me, and I like him. And yet again, I'm all on Jim Harbaugh's side. I think all of this is stupid. I can't even believe it's gotten to this point. But I can't be on your side in the aspect of the NCAA gave you a chance to admit to it and was like, hey, it won't be a harsh punishment. And yet you lied to them and misled them. And then to go on top of that, and like I've already stated, I wonder, let me know in the comment section, I wonder why Jim Harbaugh has been lying about this, why he's misleading them. Because it's really not a big deal whatsoever. I mean, heck, to put into perspective, Tennessee, they admitted to over 200 infractions. As to why Jim Harbaugh couldn't admit to a couple, I don't know. Maybe it's his ego. Maybe it's his pride. That's all we know at this current moment in time. I think more people should be talking about this because it's such an intriguing topic. Let me know your thoughts down below. But roll it back.